Hi everyone, this is Simon from CramTheExam. In this video we're going to have a look at the answers to the use of English reading exercise, which you can find in the link below this video. Just before we have a look at the exam question, first of all I'd like to say I found this question and more excellent materials at flo-joe.com, which is the place on the web for your Cambridge FCE First CAE Advanced Exam Preparation. So after you check your answers, go to flo-joe.com to do more exam questions. Okay, the exam question. Did you do the exam question in exam conditions? Have you got the test and answers in front of you now? Did you have a look at the links in the description below, which gives you excellent advice about how to do this exam? Okay, let's have a look at your answers. For question number 1, in order to get the answer, all we have to do is have a look at the language pattern before the gap. We regard something plus preposition. What's the preposition that we need? What's in this gap? As. We regard something as whatever it might be. For question number 2, what we have to do is identify the correct object which we can do without. We can do without what? Well, if we have a look at the context, we know that this word has to refer back to stress. We can't say stress again, we have to use a substitutive form, the appropriate substitutive form, which refers back to stress. So what's that word? It. Without it. To get the answer for question number 3, it helps in this case to be aware of the context. We've got a point being made before the gap, and after the gap we can see that some examples are being given. And after the gap we've got as. So we need a word which introduces the idea that examples are going to be given that collocates with as. What's the word that we're looking for? Such. Such as. Once again, for question number 4, it's helpful to have a look at the whole sentence to get a good idea of the context. And if we do that, we can see here that we're talking about a possible hypothetical situation. Talking about the possibility to control something and it not controlling you. So we need a hypothetical word in this gap. And we've got a choice of 2 potential options. We can either say if, or we can say provided. For question number 5, we need the correct relative pronoun which connects the idea discussed before the gap, which is then explained or developed after the gap. What's the correct relative pronoun that we need? Well, we need the relative pronoun that connects or refers back to these situations, which are things. In that case, we need the relative pronoun which. To get question number 6 right, and it is a very tricky, very technical question, we've got to pay particular attention to the wider context surrounding the gap. Earlier on in the text there was talk of situations, and then after that there were some examples of these situations, and we are in the middle of those examples given of those situations. The first one talks about sitting, this one talks about is where the gap is, and then the third example is another ing form. So the first example starts with ing, the third example starts with ing, the second example, question number 6, also has to be an ing form. So when we've got this situation where all of the forms in the list agree, this is what we call parallel phrasing. If you don't know what parallel phrasing is, then go out onto the internet now, check it out, and you're going to learn something new. As a matter of fact, you might even find one of the videos that I did about parallel phrasing in another life, talking about legal English. I'll leave you to find that one. So we need an ing form, and that ing form has got to be a verb of some kind. What is that verb? Being. In this particular case, given the activity that follows, which the verb has got to agree or collocate with that activity, the answer is being. For question number 7, we've got to choose the correct preposition which collocates with the noun beforehand, which talks about being part of something. In other words, a factor in something. So here the answer is in. Question number 8, well done if you've got this one correct. Why is the answer the answer? Well, it's because of the language structure. We've got a passive form here, but we don't have the form of the verb be to create the passive form, which is why we have to add it in. Paying particular attention to the time frames and the time context, we need the present form. So here the answer is are identified. Okay, I hope you managed to get most, if not all, of the answers correct. If you'd like to see more videos which cover the free and publicly available exam questions on the internet, then check out our Facebook page and YouTube channel. However, if you want to do exam questions from the leading course books like Gold, Expert and Ready 4, then please go to CramTheExam.com where, for the cost of 1 hour's work with a teacher, you can get a month's access to all the video teaching resources for all of the course books that we cover on the website. That's right, one small monthly payment and access to everything at CramTheExam.com.